He's getting older.
Pour some sugar on me!
Oh, hit the full button!
But not wiser.
Everybody has affinity for cock.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you today, Monday, the 13th of October in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show. Let the festivities begin. Episode number 100 coming live. Not live. Not really live. Could have been, maybe live. Perhaps. Coming at you right now. Thank you to everybody for joining me. I hope to put on a good show for you today. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. And thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show with friends, family, and coworkers. It really does help the show grow. Thank you to everybody that has been doing it and helping the show grow these last 100 episodes. I thank you all for doing that. You can find the show's RSS feed at leftyshow.podbean.com or wherever you get your podcasts for your PC, mobile device, or tablet, Android, iOS, it does not matter. Search The Lefty Show. You'll be sure to find us wherever you get your podcasts, and then you can subscribe to the feed, and then you'll get all the episodes, and then you can download them all, and it'll be a great time for everybody. And then you can be like, hey, Mom! Mom! I found the greatest podcast of all time. Hello. Turned into what's my guy's name again? What is his name? Eugene. There we go. Hello, it's me, Eugene. We'll be talking about people of the Jewish faith later on in the show. And they're somehow free pass for being prejudicial, like open about it. I don't know. I want to talk about that a little bit. Saw a story in the news. So yeah, search The Lefty Show wherever you get your podcasts, as well as, and thank you to everybody that has been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions is where you can go to help out the show monetarily wise. It's a great place you can go to do that. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. Please, everybody, go there. And right now, there's a link in the description. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions because I need NBA League Pass. I need it. If I'm going to do a sports podcast, I need NBA League Pass because I need to watch LeBron. Oh, LeBron! That was great from, I believe that was, I want to say, was it the 2012 Olympics? Yeah, I want to say it was either the 08 Olympics or the 2012 Olympics. LeBron James playing basketball, and the cool thing about Olympic basketball, international basketball, is that the announcers are different. You know, everybody in America is used to American commentators and play-by-play guys calling the shots. But as I understand it, in the Olympics, they switch it all up. You get crews from Spain. You get crews from the UK. You get crews from Morocco. You get all these crews, Tel Aviv. You get all these people that do games for their respective basketball leagues throughout the world, and then they cover players that they wouldn't otherwise be covering. And there was this Irish guy. I think he was Irish. He sounded Irish. And he was doing, he was calling a USA game where the USA just putting nuts in people's faces. Just, like, all right, who's next up to have LeBron put their nuts on their forehead? His nuts on their forehead. Maybe he'll put their nuts on their forehead too. That would hurt. And this guy was just really into calling LeBron. He's like, oh, LeBron. And it was LeBron doing LeBron things. We're all used to it now. We're like, oh, here's LeBron. Oh, yeah, he did that. But this guy, he was completely taken aback by whatever it was LeBron did on the corner. He was, oh, LeBron. I have a bad Irish accent. I'm watching Peaky Blinders, though, so I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to get better, at least my Northern Ireland accent, my Northern Irish accent from Belfast, because Dr. Grant plays a detective, or is it detective, constable, sergeant? I don't know. He plays a guy from Belfast, and I like that. I like that show, Peaky Blinders. Check it out. It's on Netflix. Cillian Murphy, I believe, plays a young hoodlum in Birmingham, and it's actually I'm like 4 episodes in. I like it. I like the show a lot. It's like the UK's answer to Boardwalk Empire, and it is very well done. I'm a big fan of it. You get a lot of I don't know. I like the soundtrack mix and stuff. So check it out, Peaky Blinders. It's actually a pretty damn cool show. I like it a lot. Not as graphic as Boardwalk Empire. If you've watched Boardwalk Empire, you're like, it's pretty graphic. I don't know if I can do that. Peaky Blinders is like that. Same time frame. You know, kind of a guy running just after the turn of the century, running his band of merry gangsters, but it's not as gratuitous. Not as much gratuitous violence, gratuitous gore, or even gratuitous sex. Yet, I don't know. Maybe we get to see Cillian Murphy's dong later. I don't know. Mr. Wang shows up. But as of right now, I'm liking it a whole lot. So anyway, episode 100, I said it is here. I only did 2 episodes last week because, the last one was episode 99. I'm like, oh crap. The next episode is episode 100. And I didn't know what to do for it. I don't know what to do for it. I still don't. I'm just winging it. But I realized last week, and Katie got a few days off. I wanted to spend some time with her. But I realized last week, I was like, I want to take some time out to think about what I want to do. And I think for this show, I'm going to talk. It's going to be a more perhaps not behind the scenes, like narrowly technical stuff, but just more about the show, my original vision my original, what I wanted it to be, what it has become over these last 100 episodes, maybe some changes that I want to look to make, and where to go from here. Might do a little news. I think we're going to do a little news later on in the show, but for right now, I want to stick solely to speaking about this show and its existence for 100 episodes. And I guess the best place to start would be to thank everybody that made the show possible. You guys watching, listening, if you're still around. You guys are what make this show go. I mean, I make the show. I make the show. I program the show. I am the show. It's the Lefty Show. But you guys are the one that provide an audience. You guys are the one that provide a market, however small that market may be, and whatever direction the arrow for that market is pointing. There still is a market for the show, and people are still involved with it, and people still like watching it, I believe. And so I have you guys to thank for that. And I know there's a handful of guys that I can routinely count on to be showing up in my Twitter feed as having liked the most recent episode of The Lefty Show. And I can't recall them specifically by name, but I know who you guys are. I know you guys are, they'll retweet updates on The Lefty Show. I know I'm good for they'll send it out as a meta tweet and mention me, or they have their YouTube account linked with their Twitter account, and it will show up as a like in my, because I get mentioned. And those guys, I want to take a moment to say thank you, because, this is a dark period. Like, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to pretend it's not there. But this is a darker period for my show and my YouTube business, especially. Or, I mean, I got other things going on, but for this, with the exodus from PKA, or the exodus that followed my departure from PKA, which I had expected, but perhaps not to the degree. You guys, you handful of people who I know, who I can count on to be there, to kind of remind me that, yes, there are people out there who anticipate content from me, who want to hear what I have to say about things, and who perhaps, probably, genuinely appreciate what I'm trying to do. And this is for you guys out there. Thank you. Thank you for that. These 100 episodes, I don't know how long you've been around. I know perhaps there have been some people from the beginning, but for however long you've been a fan of this show, and for however long you are going to be a fan of this show, because there's no doubt in my mind that there is a limit. There is certainly a limit. And perhaps I'll reach it. One day I'll find it. I'm searching for it. I'm like a blind guy. I'm like a blind man in a blind ship in fog. I'm looking for that button, that hot button that when I press it, you're just going to go, ooh. I'm not actively looking for it. I'm not trying like, oh, I can't wait to piss these people off. But with where I go, what I say, what I do, eventually I'll find it. So there is a clock on your fandom of this show. You may think, oh, that'll never happen. Oh, no. Don't you? No. There is definitely a clock on your fandom of this show. And however much time remains on that clock, I don't know. And neither do you. But I thank you for there being a clock in the first place. And I thank you for that. And again, specifically to everybody that I know anticipates the show, will retweet, like, favorite, and converse with me on Twitter, because I don't read the YouTube comments anymore. They're just cancer, awful, 12-year-old sycophants of a middle-aged man kind of ruined that. I learned, oh yeah, these are YouTube comments. And so I just, get it out of here. So I'm almost exclusively on Twitter now. And thank you to everybody. If you want to converse with me, that's where you can go. And again, thank you to just everybody that's been doing that. And I hope that you'll stick around for just a little bit longer. I forgot where I was going with that YouTube comment track. Anyway, that's what happens on this show. Let's see what else. So episode 100, huh? When I originally relaunched this show, I mentioned earlier, thanks for people that tend to appreciate or hopefully appreciate what it is I'm doing here. And I thank you all for that, because it has been my understanding that perhaps not a lot of people do. And that's okay. But when I originally relaunched this show as The Lefty Show a couple months ago, or in the summer, when I initially relaunched the show, I had in mind things that I didn't see on YouTube. Because anybody can hop into Google Hangout and call that a podcast, which is fine. And many people have had way more success than I ever will have with a Google Hangout. I want to get that out of the way now. Many more podcasts have had, whether it just be a straight Google Hangout, whether it be, with an overlay, whether they try to produce it, or whether it's just guys hanging out. I understand that, again, many people have had great success with that. But I looked at that when I originally wanted to start the show or relaunch the show, because the show was previously incarnated as what became That's Not Why You Called, which was just a Google Hangout show. But when I wanted to relaunch the show, I wanted to make a concerted effort to have the show be more radio-y. I'm nothing if not a pretend radio host. I'm nothing if not a pretend radio guy. I've got the audio racks now. I've got the preamp, the compressor, all that stuff. So I am full on pretend. I've got sound bites.
Hello there.
Yeah, see, look at that. Scoozy. So I'm nothing if not a pretend radio guy. And I wanted to do that because I saw a lot of people having plenty of success on iTunes. And not just on iTunes, wherever you host your podcasts. I saw a lot of, not just, there were people that would watch on YouTube. There were people that love watching on YouTube. But I also saw that at least that viewership would appear elsewhere. At least that viewership would appear on Spreaker, I think it's called, or iTunes, or Libsyn, or wherever people host podcasts. A lot of people, this is a mobile device world. And yes, all mobile devices have YouTube accessibility. It's kind of hard to seek out YouTube content on a mobile device unless it's brought to you by some other social media platform. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, maybe, if you're into Pinterest. I don't know what Pinterest is. I just know a lot of people use it for stuff. I still haven't figured it out. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't even have an Instagram. I don't have anything. I got Twitter, that's it. Twitter and YouTube. That's all I got. But I realize, a lot of people, you host your podcast elsewhere and then send people like, oh, well, you can watch on YouTube. That's great if you're on your laptop, on your PC. But here we're going to host it and put it on iTunes, and you can subscribe via iTunes and then take it with you wherever you go. And I said, okay, well, that's going to be maybe not the future, but that's what it is right now. And believe it or not, RSS feed viewership has since eclipsed, for this show, has since eclipsed YouTube viewership. The RSS feed and the show's viewership on iTunes or wherever else people get their podcasts, again, you can search The Lefty Show and you'll find us there, has eclipsed YouTube viewership. It stayed strong throughout the whole PKA thing. There was a dip, but not nearly as prevalent as was on YouTube. And so when I was like, okay, well, all right, so now we have the medium lockdown. How do we do it? And that's when I decided, well, a lot of people focus on video. They do the Google Hangout thing or the Skype call. Bad. Compress the crap out of the other person's audio, and it sounds like they're talking to you through a tin can. And they do the YouTube bit, and then they put it on iTunes, call it a day. There it is, yeah. So, well, again, that works, but it could be so much better. These people that do that could do it so much better, but, whatever. They're lazy or, I don't know, distance separate. I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's just not possible technologically for them. I don't know. But I thought, well, I want to create a real studio sound, because when you're listening on iTunes, all you have is audio. That's all you got. And it wouldn't do well to have somebody sound like they're talking through a tin can at you with their laptop or webcam microphone, which many people do. Or their microphone routed through a Google Hangout, which compresses the crap out of it, and it sounds awful. Sounds awful. It's, compressed, encoded, decoded, blah, 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 blah. So from the very beginning, I tried to create a very studio-like quality with the show. Because, and some people, again, don't get it. They say, well, anybody can do it. And I say, well, okay, why aren't more people doing it? Why aren't more people doing this with their podcasts? I think the Bad Kid Cast did it. And I think that's part of the reason why so many people enjoyed it. It's one of those things where it's an accoutrement, it's garnish, that when the garnish is gone, when the audio quality is gone, you go, oh, well, what am I, oh, yeah, okay, the content, oh, great, all right, so, What would it feel like if a snake bit your cock? Okay, well, ugh. That's not... What? Huh? This is what I... No. If you have the good audio, and if you have that studio feel, that studio sound, it amplifies, it acts as an amplifier for everything else. So that's what I tried to do originally with the show, which is why I have been reluctant to bring on guests, which is why I have been reluctant and very circumspect in doing other things, because if I start bringing in guests, they're not going to be in studio. They can't be. So, all right, well, that sound is going to go away. Now, well, you could do the phone thing, but they're not going to be show-long guests. They can't be, because that's just going to, you're going to have the show with bad audio or less than quality audio. So, how do I do it? That's why. And some people, the show's bad because it's just him. And I say, well, yeah, because in order to make it not this, I would have to do something that I don't really want to do. It would run contrary to the original intent of the show. This show wasn't intended to be the Rooster Teeth podcast. This show wasn't intended to be PKA. This show wasn't intended to be PTFO. This show was intended to capture the audience that enjoys good sound quality and topical discussion in a radio-like format with all the,
King of the world, baby, king of the world.
with all the sound effects, the complete non sequitur sound bites that go with it. I need to update these. I need to go through, find some more, because there's a bunch that I don't use.
Cut that bitch off.
If I had calling capability, I would do that.
Bitch, I'm flowing straight from the survival scroll.
I don't even know what I was thinking with that. I cut that up and I was like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this all the time. Then I promptly didn't use it. But of course, there's a tried and true.
Bonerama.
You can't go wrong with Bonerama. You're talking about, the fappening?
Bonerama.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Bonerama.
Not really. Not for me, at least. But for many people.
Bonerama.
But be careful, guys. It's a sex crime. She calls it a sex crime. Talk about that. I've just been steaming about that. Since the last time I talked about it, I've been thinking about it more and more. And I'm almost to the point where I hate you, Jennifer Lawrence. Uppity biatch. How dare you? How dare you call your naked pictures being leaked a sex crime? How dare you? Because there are actual victims of sex crimes out there. Actual victims of actual sex crimes. People looking at your nudie, at your boobs, by the way, mediocre tits. Not a sex crime. Not a sex crime. You know what's a sex crime? Violent rape. That's a sex crime. Serial sexual abuse of children. That's a sex crime. You, Jennifer Lawrence, millionaire, are not the victim of a sex crime. And how dare you? How dare you compare the two? The gall, the nerve you have to call that a sex crime. Go out and get hit by a bus, idiot, bitch. Hate you. How dare you do that? Oh, and by the way, ultimate hypocrisy. The sex crime quote, the likening of guys just jerking it to your poorly lit nude photos to a sex crime was done in a Vanity Fair article. The accompanying photos pictured you nude. Oh, a sex crime, sex crime. Screw you. Kiss my ass, Jennifer Lawrence. Kiss a sick monkey's wet ass while you're at it, too. Find a sick monkey with Ebola. Go to Africa, Western Africa. Can monkeys carry Ebola? I hope they can, because you're going to find a monkey, find a sick monkey, kiss its wet ass. Go join Thomas Eric Duncan on a slab somewhere. Get out of here, idiot. Anyway, digress. Back to the show. Can you tell that I've been thinking about that for a while? Did it show? Did I tip my hand that perhaps I've been thinking about the hypocrisy of Jennifer Lawrence and just the pure sensationalism? You know who you go after? The individual people that accessed your account or iCloud, if that's how it was done. Investigate and go after them because they did damage you, yes. And perhaps they did gain access to an account or some, I don't know, gain access to a secured computer is the law. I don't know if that counts for like an account somewhere. I'm sure it does. Go after those guys, sure. But don't call, neckbeards on Reddit who are just jerking it to your photos, giving don't call them sexual criminals. And don't even liken what they do to that. It's a disservice to all the people who are actually victims of sex crimes. The real victims of sex crimes. Are you still a millionaire, Jennifer Lawrence? A multi-millionaire? You still have 2 movies coming out for the last part of your crappy little stupid sci-fi series? You still getting paid for that? Yeah? Shut up. Don't tell me you're a victim of a sex crime. Get out of here. Yes, I've been thinking about it, and yes, I'm still pissed off about it because Jennifer Lawrence is still breathing. And she still has that thought in her head. Because she's convinced herself, absolutely convinced herself that she is the victim of a sex crime. And she runs around throwing that about as if, yeah, I'm a victim of a sex crime. And all her sycophants go, oh, yeah, well, yeah, she's a victim of a sex crime. Look at that. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not a sex crime. First of all, it's disingenuous to call it a sex crime. Never mind the fact that you're likening leaked nudie pictures to actual, sex crimes, statutory rape, violent rape, real sexual assault. Real sexual assault. Some neckbeard looking at your boobies does not put you in immediate fear of harm or immediate fear of sexual harm. Doesn't happen. Stop. Serial rape of children. What the priest did, what Jerry Sandusky did. Those are sex crimes. Not to mention the likening, but just oh, wow, that's a sex crime. No, it's not. Then you add in, by everybody referring to what happened to Jennifer Lawrence, and by Jennifer Lawrence herself perpetuating this idea of sex crime, it is a monumental disservice to anybody who's an actual victim of a sex crime. Jennifer Lawrence makes the woman toting around her mattress in an effort to make unsubstantiated claims, get somebody removed from a private university. That one, she makes that student look, oh yeah, it's Mother Teresa. Yeah, all right, yeah, she's an actual victim. Fight for her rights. That's how bad Jennifer Lawrence has been about this whole thing. Just go after the people that access your account if you want to, or appreciate the fact that you're in the news round the clock, and if anything, your status as a sex symbol has rocketed to the top ahead of any other pop star. Now you, Jennifer Lawrence, are the sex symbol of America. May not want to be, but you're going to cash in on it. Oh, by the way, what you did in the Vanity Fair photo shoot. Kiss my ass and call it a love story, bitch. Biatch. Ugh. Just, okay, I feel better. Got that all over. Got a little bit on the screen there. Get that out. Yeah, all right, that's good. Anyway, back to the show. Back to, Shockwave Flash has crashed. Maybe it's because you keep refreshing yourself, Jerusalem Post. I'll get to you in a bit. I'm reserving my ire for later in the show. Jeez. So what I try to do with this show, if I can backtrack a little bit, digress, is preserve or shoot for a feel, a quality, if you will. And at times, certainly, that has come at the expense of of perhaps content, of bits, of comedy bits, because listener interaction on the show could be done quite easily, but I want to preserve the feel of a quote professional podcast or professional radio show, even if it's done by some jackass, me. Which is why, listener interaction will come when I get phone, get a call-in line and get all that stuff hooked up. And so watching the show progress through the first 100 episodes, it's been very interesting going back, listening to the first one, trying to remember what I had in my head for what I wanted to do. And I think at least conceptually, the show's changed. The show is definitely, the show's branding has changed. The audio, the sound has changed, certainly. And other things have changed and will change. The show, we're not done growing here. But I think conceptually, at least, I've tried my best to stick to those ethos and done I don't know, don't want to break my own arm here. Done a pretty good job patting myself on the back. That's what I'm doing now. But the show's been around for 100 episodes, and I thank you all for allowing me to do that. And I thank you to everybody that has been and will continue to stick around. And thank you to everybody that, that has been sharing the show. Like I said, people that, if you go around, you go, hey, you should check out this show. You talk on a forum, internet forum, to people, anybody you discuss pop culture or current events with. Oh, hey, check out this show. See if you like it. And thank you everybody that's been doing that. And the numbers reflect that's been being done. But I hope you will continue to do so, and like I said, help the show grow. And thank you to everybody again that's been doing that, and thank you to everybody that's supported me. Oddly enough, the PKA guys allowed me to talk about the show. They would ask me about the show and how it's doing, give it a listen, promote it a bit here and there. And when I was a part of that show, they were helpful, they were supportive, encouraging in this endeavor, and I thank them for that. I thank who else has helped me out here. I think Wings has at least I think privately supported me originally, and everybody that behind the scenes has helped the show in one way or another, and with it, whether it be overtly or just subtle encouragement. It's been I don't know, it's cool. It's cool that this is I'm not a person known for completing things. I think I've actually completed one Let's Play ever that I've set out to accomplish. And podcasts that I've been a part of have just kind of fizzled out. That's Not Why You Called. Or the Lefty Show originally, gone into That's Not Why You Called with Hutch. That just kind of fizzled. And then That's Not Why You Called later fizzled. As a result of, some people just being a different way than you thought. And I would argue maybe even being a little bit inappropriate. Given what I don't know. I'm not gonna continue down that thought path. But that kind of fizzled, never really came to a concise end, and never really reached one of those benchmarks, one of those thresholds, one of those milestones where you go, oh yes, this is like a thing now. That's a thing. All right, cool. This has been really the first thing. 100 episodes in. And talked just a lot of talk, man. I would argue averaging certainly averaging over an hour. I think there's only a handful of episodes that have been less than an hour, which was never the intent. The show was originally intended to be 45 minutes, maybe. Completely open-ended after that. But my just talking and this led to that, and just kind of it morphed into a show that, again, and has been solidly averaging over an hour for every episode. So that's what, 100 hours of content at least. You know, what, 1.05 hours, you know, 1.1 times 100, that's 110 hours of content, and no breaks, no interludes, no, 5-minute commercial breaks, no updates, no callers, nothing to really take the pressure off of being the only idiot behind the microphone. I would love to get a second host, or I would love to do a 2-man, even a 3-man show. But as of right now, I don't think that's just really in the cards for what this show, the Lefty Show, what I want it to be. God, now that I think about it, I really would like to do a sports podcast. That would be cool. If I could find an audience for that, but doing a lot more sporting stuff where I'm more comfortable on YouTube. Got my buddy Rich back in the studio, getting the old band back together. And that's been a lot of fun. I think that to give you an idea of what I want for not only this show, but for every show I'm a part of after this, if there is to be one. If you go and watch the stuff I do with my buddy Rich, we've got an NBA 2K My GM series coming up. We've played NHL hockey, the World Tour series with the Blackhawks, which is going to be, spotty. Got some Madden stuff, and we did the NLDS preview. That's what I want. That. It was reactionary to the game. It's reactionary to the stuff we're playing, very much so. But that level of banter and that quality, which I think is, again, I think damn good. Again, still work to be done. Not done, still playing, still listening and re-listening, listening on different mediums. But if you go listen to those things, go watch those videos, that I think is probably some of the best content that I've made. Certainly not through the accolades, the video numbers, the like ratios, the likes, the views, whatever. No. But I think just certainly subjectively, that is some of the best content that I've made. And I think that if it was able to be rolled into a podcast, that would give that show, whatever it was, not just with my buddy or anybody else, but I think that kind of banter, that level of quality, I think that would give any podcast, would set it up to be a really, really good podcast, which is what I tried to do with the show. I was never intending it to be like, I'm going to be the best, be the number one on iTunes. I knew I don't have the clout. I know I don't have the following, and I know I don't have the talent, the comedic talent, the delivery talent to be that. But they talk in sports all the time. You got to put your team in the best position to win. GMs try to put their teams in the best positions to win. Coaches, tactically. GMs do it strategically. Coaches and managers do it tactically, where at the time, in the moment, they put their team in the best position to win. Do we go to a run or a pass here? Do we bunt? Do we steal? Swing away? Call fastball or off speed or breaking balls? What do we do? That stuff, you put your team in the best position to win, and you put your personnel in a position to succeed. That's the mantra. And that's what I tried to do with the show. And the quality, the audio only stuff was to put the show in a position to succeed. Now all it needs, not really all it needs, but now it becomes easier for the show if there's an influx of viewership from somewhere. I think a lot more of them are liable to stick around because it's not, somebody talking to you through a kazoo. Somebody, you're like, oh, this sounds pretty good. I put my headphones on. I can play this through my radio when I go to drive to work or when I'm riding the bus, whatever. And I think if you watch, again, those shows I do with my buddy Rich, I think that's what I hope for in everything I do. This show is kind of the predecessor to, okay, now this is how I want to create content going forward. These are the things that I want to capitalize on and to emphasize moving forward. But as we wrap up talking about the show, 100 episodes in, I thank you all again for sticking around, for coming and going at your leisure, whenever that has been, through these, let's see, it's October now, so what? 4 months, maybe? 4 or 5 months? Maybe more? Half a year almost? We're 100 episodes in. I thank you all for watching, for liking, and for subscribing. For subscribing and for anticipating. Like I said at the top of this topic, that anticipation, that knowing that there are people that are like, okay, I want to hear what you want to talk about. I've had people come to say, hey, here's this. Like, I want to hear what you have to say about this. That's really cool. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. That's what I want. That reminds me, oh, yeah, there are people that really like, not many, but there are people that really like what I do. And I thank you all of you listening, who are those people. And if you're not, well, maybe stick around. We're 100 episodes in. I don't know how many more we're going to have. I don't know. But I hope you stick around and give it a shot. Maybe you'll find something you like, or maybe you won't. That's fine too. That's okay. That's what, that's why they play the games, Coach. Let's do some news. Sounded like a wet fart there. Did you hear that? I don't know if that's going to make it into the recording. I heard it in my headphones. It sounded like when the thing. So hold on. We're going to pause. We're going to stop that. All right, and it's going to restart. Now listen. It sounds like a wet fart. I never heard that before. I guess that's just something in the audio feed because it's not there when the thing stops. Anyway. You start boosting audio signals, you hear things you never knew were there. Anyway, time to do some news here on The Lefty Show. This is a news coming from many of my stories come from Reddit r/news. It's a good aggregate site. The Lincoln Memorial upskirting case has been dismissed. A judge has ruled, this is from KHON2.com, that women have no expectation of privacy in a public area. The news with Lefty. A judge has said the case brought against a guy or a person taking creep shot upskirt photos, and let's stop pretending like let's stop putting upskirt in quotes like, hey, by the way, and I'm in the article somewhere, I'm sure is a description of what upskirting is. We all know what it is. Girls know what it is because they have to guard against it. Or maybe they don't have to guard against it. Many of them try to guard against it. Some of them don't. And some of them do it willfully. Some of them do it negligently. But they're just like, yeah, I know that's a thing. When I'm wearing a skirt or a dress, I know you can't just be you can't do everything in a dress that you can do in pants. We'll say that. Women know because they guard against it. Guys know because we're the ones that they have to guard against. Okay? Everybody knows what it is. And this season even covers the transgender. Because the guy dressing up as a lady, or what was a lady dressing up like a dude now, or who is a dude, identifies as a dude, or the dude who identifies as a lady, or hey, I've got both, but I identify as one or the other. They do it too. Whether you dress up like, you're not running around, if you're a dude dressing up like a chick, do you still run around like, hey, here, check it out? No, you dress up like a girl, like a lady, and you go do that stuff. So let's stop pretending like, okay, here's what it is. We all know what it is. We all know what it is. In fact, there's a funny story. A sideline, NFL sideline, like a ball boy, I think, was caught taking a butt cheek shot of an NFL cheerleader. Which does it matter if he's doing it with his iPhone surreptitiously, or he's got a telephoto lens on the sideline and he's taking pictures of the booty of the voluptuous women strategically dressed to show off said booty? Like, why is this guy getting crap? Like, oh, look at him being weird. Like, go search NFL cheerleader on Google Images and find the really nice photos. Is that guy a creep? He's got a $6,000 lens on his $4,000 camera body. A total of $10,000 devoted to taking pictures of a sexualized human. Is that guy a creep? Oh, well, oh no, but he's doing it kind of surreptitiously with his iPhone. Creep! All right, whatever, dude. Whatever. So a judge said, Lincoln Memorial, there's a guy caught taking upskirts, and people are like, well, what do we do with him? Because he's weird. The judge said, well, this case is dismissed because what he did isn't illegal. What he did doesn't make him liable for damages. You're not damaged. It's not tortious what he did. You, women, people wearing clothes, have no reasonable expectation of privacy in public. If you are wearing a skirt, if it is able to be seen in public, and yes, directly under your skirt is public, in the public, by the public, you have no expectation of privacy. It's not a crime. It's not a tort for somebody to take pictures of you or of what you are exposing or what is exposed via their, I don't know, lucky positioning. Or even by, you put yourself in a position like, I can see, click, click, click. It's not a crime. Nothing wrong with that. Because you are in public and showing it off. And of course, feminists are outraged. Oh my God. Oh my God. How could this possibly not be a crime? How could this guy possibly not damage this girl by doing this? What is wrong with our society? Of course, cries of misogyny being thrown every which way. And I go back to, there was another case like this a couple months ago. And I brought out the Chicago Cubs. Would you make the Cubs? Yes, the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, Cubbies. The Chicago Cubs play in Wrigley Field on the north side of Chicago in a pretty densely populated area, lots of buildings around. And right across the two streets, the Cubs sit in a city block. The Wrigley Field sits in a city block. And right across the streets that define the outfield are 4, 5, 6-story buildings, I believe. And on those buildings, since Wrigley Field has been there, since those buildings have been there, people have been able to watch Cubs games from those buildings. And those building owners have started many years ago, building seating on top of their buildings for the express purpose of watching the Cubs, of course. Now, those people, those building owners, and those people that buy tickets to go sit on top of this person's building to watch the Cubs are not committing a crime or not committing a tort against the Chicago Cubs. They're not. because your product is visible from the public. Being on top of somebody else's property is technically the public. I mean, it's private property, but it's viewable from a place where the person has proper permission to be. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything wrong. And so the Chicago Cubs, and I'm surprised that the rooftop owners didn't fight this more. They entered into an agreement with the Chicago Cubs where the Cubs get a kickback of ticket sales from rooftop owners. The rooftop owners should have said, yeah, that's what we do. Stop it. You can't. You just can't. Because we're not doing anything wrong. If you don't like it, build a gigantic wall. Stop your photons. The photons that come in from the sun are reflected off the players and come back to me, to my eyes, and interact with my eyes. Stop that. Put up a wall. The light and the visible, the photons, wave particle duality, and the proper spectrum, freaking mind melting stuff. Stop it. I don't want to see it, but if I can see it. What am I supposed to do? Oh, not look. Oh, God. And if you look, it's a crime. You're liable for this. Yeah. No. It's like, imagine if you live next to a drive-in theater. And then and you could watch a drive-in theater from your living room. And so every night you make popcorn or whenever you want, and they're showing a movie. They broadcast the movie audio on a local radio frequency, and you get a little radio tuner, and you figure it out, and you watch a movie from your living room. And then comes the knock at the door. Apparently a horse is knocking at your door. And it's the owner of the drive-in saying, you owe me tickets. You owe me money for tickets because you've been watching these movies. Don't you say, like, well, I'm on my property, in my home, and your movie is being reflected by your screen to me. Stop it. If you don't want me to see it, don't broadcast your audio signal, and don't reflect the video of your movie. Don't reflect it. Because it doesn't stop when the property line ends. It keeps going. If I had a telescope big enough on another planet, I could see that. We'll forget for the moment, bending of space and time by planets. And you would be in the right. And how could anybody reasonably argue, well, you're doing something wrong. So yes, when you are in public, whether you be wearing a skirt, shorts, whatever, if it's exposed, somebody's going to look at it and even take a picture of it. That's not a crime. There's nothing being done that is at all wrong there. It's creepy, sure. Of course it's creepy. Of course it's creepy. It's weird. It's like, what are you doing, you weirdo? Ugh. It's just, ugh. Because of course, it's not just the women that just sit with their legs spread wide open. There's, of course, creep to it. There's a creepy level aspect to it. Guy puts shoe mirrors was back in the day. Shoe mirrors, ha ha ha, yeah. It's not a crime. Stop the light from being reflected off your panties, girls. Ugh. And I know it sounds like victim shaming, but at that point, you can go out dressed however you want, and it's on me not to look. Otherwise, it's a crime or a tort. What? Think about that, because there are people now crying, saying, oh, it should be illegal, it should be a crime. Think about what you're criminalizing. And I think that's a big problem. Because people just say, oh, this offends me. It goes from, this is weird, because creep shots are weird. Upskirts pictures, that's kind of weird, dude. What are you doing? Kind of weird. Like, oh, I'm going to go to him later. Yeah, I know, I get that, but the actual doing of it here, weird. It's weird. It progresses from weird to uncomfortable, which is very rational. If something's weird, by definition, you're a little bit uncomfortable. Your comfort is upset by it in some way. So it goes from weird to uncomfortable. And then people think, well, I'm uncomfortable. I shouldn't be uncomfortable. There's no reason why I should be uncomfortable. It should be illegal. That is the irrational, unreasonable leap in logic. You have no right to being comfortable. There's no such right in existence. You don't have a right to be comfortable. Ladies, I'm sorry. You don't. You don't have a right to be comfortable. That's why it's creepy, and it will make you uncomfortable, sure, but that's why it is not legal, it is not illegal, and it is not tortious for men to leer at you. If you're going to be walking out in public, men can and will leer at you. Women might do it too. And guess what? It's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with that. If you didn't want it to happen, don't go out in public. Because yes, you are a little bit responsible for things that happen to you. Certainly some more than others. Violent rape, you're not responsible for that. Really, it'd have to be pretty damn hard to argue that you are somebody is responsible for their violent rape. But to all the Comic-Con goers, to the girls who dress up and do cosplay and dress in revealing outfits, go in bathing suits or in their underwear, dressed up as some, I don't know, video game character or pop culture reference. There's an actual movement saying, don't leer at cosplayers. Don't leer at them. Don't look at me. You're making me uncomfortable. That's sexual harassment. No, it's not. Because you're wearing the bathing suit in public, not me. And you got a nice body. I'm going to look at it. That's kind of the point, isn't it? Now, I know some people are going to say, well, also the movement is to stop people from touching cosplayers, from groping them. And I say, yes. And other people will say, well, this is to stop cameramen, people with cameras, from assaulting women, shoving a camera down their shirt and taking a picture. Yes. Those are crimes already. It's called battery. That's a battery. Groping a woman, a cosplayer, is a battery. It's already a crime. We don't need a movement to tell people not to commit this extra special thing. The movement should be, oh, don't touch, I'm not here to be objective. Don't touch me. It should be, don't commit battery, you weirdos. That should be the movement. We don't need laws. We don't need movements. We don't need extra new special laws that define upskirting to make it illegal. We don't need movements to especially tell people don't grope cosplayers just because they're dressed revealingly. All we need to say is do not assault and batter people. That's all. But, again, today's society, I'm uncomfortable. I shouldn't be uncomfortable. There needs to be a law that prevents me from being made uncomfortable. No. No, 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 no. You don't have a right to be completely comfortable. You have no such right in existence. If you want to stop guys from looking at your underwear or lack of underwear when you go out in public, don't wear the skirt. Don't wear it. If you want to stop guys from leering at your butt, don't go out in tight jeans. Don't go out in the leggings. Because you're in public. And again, you have no reasonable, and it pains me to think that anybody could find fault with a ruling that says, oh yeah, when you're in public, if it's able to be seen without committing a battery or assault, then there we go. It's not a crime. It's not a tort. It's that simple. And as we wrap up this special episode of The Lefty Show, this is from the Jerusalem Post, which I will have you note has been constantly refreshing itself to the point where Shockwave Flash has crashed. There's no doubt in my mind that Shockwave Flash crashed because the Jerusalem Post was refreshing itself. Why was it refreshing itself? So it could continually run ads. Now, I'm not going to touch that. But a website called the Jerusalem Post was made by its webmaster. Again, the Jerusalem Post, made to continually refresh itself so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ads can play. So it's different ad slots, banners, videos, all that stuff. I'm not going to touch that. I'll leave that there for you. This story, though, from jpost.com. The controversy was U.S. Jews outraged over Pittsburgh restaurant's Palestinian menu. The controversy was ignited by an establishment known as Conflict Kitchen, whose rotating menu features items that are culturally unique to countries, quote, in conflict with the United States. Members of the Jewish community in Pittsburgh are objecting to a local diner's invitation to customers to sample Palestinian cuisine, fearing that it could incite customers against Israel, according to media reports in Pennsylvania. The controversy was ignited by an establishment known as Conflict Kitchen, whose rotating menu features items that are culturally unique to countries in conflict with the United States. The restaurant also hosts cultural and political discussions featuring experts who can provide deeper insight into whichever part of the world the establishment wishes to train its focus. Conflict Kitchen has in the past altered its menu to offer delicacies from Afghanistan, North Korea, Cuba, Iran, and Venezuela. Its latest selection, the Palestinians, have ensnared it into controversy. The idea was to fill what we felt was a void in Pittsburgh, John Rubin, one of the founders of Conflict Kitchen, told a local CBS affiliate in Pittsburgh. So we started thinking about what we can serve and how we can have a conversation that's not already here. We realized there's never been a Persian or an Afghan or a Venezuelan restaurant in the city, and that not only have there never been those restaurants, but those communities actually exist here. Greg Roman, who heads the Community Relations Council at the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh, told the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, quote, Conflict Kitchen's focus on countries in conflict is honorable. Seriously, try that at home. Conflict Kitchen's focus on countries in conflict is honorable, but Palestine is not in conflict with the U.S. Well, I disagree, Greg, with 2 G's, of course. I don't know why, of course, but he's probably one of those guys. Like, excuse me. Like, if you write down his name, it's like, that's Greg with 2 G's, by the way. Like, okay, what's your reservation? Yeah, put it under Greg with 2 G's. Thanks, douche. I would disagree because the U.S. sends $3 billion a year to fund Israel's war machine. $3 billion in aid. Different forms of aid. It's not like a boat just shows up with 3 billion greenbacks. But the U.S. lends $3 billion in military aid to Israel every year, and that aid goes to fight Palestinians? Is that conflict? Like, imagine, I don't know, Greg Roman, you found out that Al-Qaeda is surreptitiously funding or rich Saudis or Qataris are funding the Palestinian rebels. Would you not be then, would your home country of Israel, would that country not then be in conflict with Qatar? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Continuing the quote from Greg Roman, the restaurant is stirring up conflict for the sake of trying to be relevant. A restaurant called Conflict Kitchen is stirring up conflict. Round out the article. This week, Conflict Kitchen is serving up hummus, baba ganoush, salata gazawiya, and moussaka, the national dish of Palestine. It is also hosting a discussion with a Palestinian author to discuss food and culture in the West Bank and Gaza. Here's my question. Why is it that minority groups, whether they be religious minorities, ethnic minorities, even cultural minorities, why do they get a pass with being overtly prejudicial? Because here's Greg Roman, Okay, who he heads the Community Relations Council at the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. Okay? This guy represents Jewish people, a certain contingent of Jewish people in Pittsburgh. Certainly a minority, I would say. And he is saying he is rallying against Conflict Kitchen, this private business focusing its menu and culture and discussion on Palestine, an enemy of Israel. Isn't that prejudicial? Isn't saying you shouldn't focus on the Palestinians, because it's wrong to focus on the Palestinians. He is saying this heading the Jewish Federation, who is, I'm guessing, Jewish, is saying it is not okay to focus on Palestinians or to in any way bring light to the plight of Palestinians. Do not highlight the plight of Palestinians because, that's bad. We can't do that. That's wrong. You're offending me when you do that. Why does this guy get a pass with being so overtly prejudicial? Why? Imagine a cracker. Imagine and it happened. It happened in America when ESPN showed Michael Sam sucking face with his boyfriend, kissing on draft day, the third day of the draft, when Michael Sam got drafted by the St. Louis Rams, subsequently cut, but drafted by the St. Louis Rams. ESPN had cameras in his home, and Michael Sam kissed his boyfriend on national television. It was broadcast live, and people were outraged by it. People were saying, "Oh, you look at you're bringing this culture to my front door. This is wrong. I'm offended by it. I'm offended. I find this offensive. This imagery of Michael Sam kissing a male, kissing his boyfriend, offensive." That's what people said. Some people. Those people who said that were labeled as racists and bigots. How dare you? You're a bigot. You don't like that? You don't like that imagery? You're a bigot. You don't like that focus? You don't like bringing to light the fact that Michael Sam is homosexual? You're a bigot. You're a bigot. You're a bigot. But the head of a Jewish federation does it, saying you shouldn't bring light to Palestine. You shouldn't talk about the plight of Palestinians. You should not bring Palestinian imagery or culinary arts. You should not bring that to the forefront of Pittsburgh. That's wrong. And nobody's saying boo. Nobody's saying, oh, well, that's pretty bigoted. Especially for a Jewish guy who probably at the drop of a hat is dying to tell you about Egypt and the plight of Jews in Egypt, which was certainly true. But he's Jewish, so it's okay. He can be overtly bigoted, and nobody's going to say, well, that's pretty damn bigoted. What are your problems, you prejudicial bastard? But, okay. Huh. That's weird. Wonder why that is. Drop me a line on Twitter at Lefty643. Let me know. Let's bring it home. Another great episode of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining. I had a great time putting on the show for you. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. Also, plenty of gaming and vlogging content there. Keep it right here and go there and stay locked in. YouTube.com/LeftyOX. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter. At Lefty643 is where you can stay up to date on all the latest and greatest Lefty Show news. That's at Lefty643 on Twitter. Thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show these past 100 episodes with friends, family, and coworkers. And thank you to everybody that will continue to do so. Just search The Lefty Show wherever you get your podcasts for your PC, mobile device, or tablet for Android or iOS. It does not matter. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions where you can donate. Thank you for a great 100 episodes. Here's to a great 100 more. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
King of the world, baby. King of the world.